I'm Carrie Lyons.
And Edwin Lyons, Carrie's spouse. We met back in our home state of Nebraska.
And I asked him out, and he said no. It is on video now.
It's on video, and it is true. I did, and believe me, it was very difficult to say no, because I thought she was out of my league to begin with.
We were living in Omaha, Nebraska, and we decided to start a new life, so we moved to Salt Lake City. And at that point, we had been married for 7 years, and we thought that that was a good time to start a family. We were able to become pregnant very easy, so we were thrilled. We just really felt like it was a perfect moment. We didn't know how tragic life was going to turn. At 5.5 months pregnant, we were in the hospital, and the doctors and the nurses said, "You are in labor, and there's nothing that we can do to stop it, and your baby is not going to make it." When you think about words that define your life, hearing those words, "he's not going to make it," just changed ours in an instant. A year almost to the day that we lost our little baby, I was diagnosed with endometrial cancer, cancer of the uterus. And when you talk about other words that change your life, hearing the words, "you have cancer," will bring you to your knees. It was the worst time in my life, and I felt betrayed. I felt betrayed by God. We were still new to the community, so I knew of Huntsman, but just kind of like this reputation that it's a good hospital. But then I realized that it's not a hospital that you're walking through. The lobby is just so full of hope, and it's warm, and it's inviting, and everyone is treating you like you're their priority. As my healing progressed, I really understood under all the sadness and despair that there was a journey that I was supposed to be on, and my life wasn't supposed to be defined by having cancer. It was supposed to be defined by what I had to give.
After we learned that we would not be able to have a biological child, Carrie says, "You know what we need to do to raise money for our adoption? We need to bike from the Huntsman Cancer Institute all the way back to our hometown of Omaha, Nebraska. And not only that, we should totally donate 20% of whatever we make back to the Huntsman Cancer Institute." It was enlightening to hear Carrie have this zest for getting back up on her feet. So at the time, as outrageous of an idea as that seemed, I was excited, and I said, "Totally, yeah, let's do that. Let's push our limits, and let's make this thing happen."
It was difficult, it was challenging.
Are we at the top yet?
But it was exhilarating. It was so much better than being in the hospital with cancer. It was so much better than that. I believe that Huntsman Cancer has not lost the #1 goal, and that's hope.
My father's cancer was a calamity of mistakes that almost caused us to lose him. He had a growth on his neck that was getting bigger and bigger, and doctors were telling him not to worry about it. When they finally figured out it was cancer, they basically said you were going to lose him within a month. And that's how my father ended up at Huntsman, and something that went from us preparing for the end to, hang on, this is manageable, this will be fine, here's what we need to do to get you through it, all took place. And why we're incredibly grateful for Huntsman.
I think I was a little bit in disbelief how someone so powerful and so strong could be in a situation where this could happen. And I remember him going through the weight loss, and I remember him just struggling, lying in bed.
Qualtrics was started in 2002 in a basement with my father and I. I was a sophomore, junior in college, cut my internship early, and drove home that summer to basically be with my dad. I think we needed something to both probably channel our energy. And instead of restoring a Mustang, we worked on a tech company. In my eyes, I was looking at it very much as, whatever extra time I can have with my father, it's bonus time.
We think one of the best decisions we ever made was before we had any money to say that cancer, and specifically Huntsman, was where that money would go.
We have an all-hands meeting every Thursday morning. If you ask everyone how many have someone directly related to them who have been personally affected by cancer, there's not a hand in the audience that isn't raised. For me, this is not a charity. This is a cause. And this cause is not about Jared and I and my father. It's about what can we do as a company on behalf of all the Qualtrics employees to put some of our resources and time and energy to good use.
Cancer is something that can be solved with the right attention, the right resources, the right expertise. And so that is why we are so passionate about it. In business, we talk a lot about, centers of excellence where people specialize on one problem and they're really, really good at it. Well, if you have a disease, wouldn't you want to work with people who all they did was focus on that disease, like Huntsman does?
In our case, we were just a small company trying to make payroll, and we set our eyes that this is where we're going to focus and this is where we're going to give back. And it's nice to sit up and say, hey, look, this is something that we've been working towards.